Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Welcome to GVI Digital Classes. Dear students, you might have read the different basic life processes like the process of a digestion, process of a respiration, excretion, the nervous system, the process of a excretion, circulation. जब हम इन सारे processes की बात करते हैं, they all are the life processes. The processes which are very essential for sustaining the life, for the continuity of a life. They are all the life supporting processes. But dear students, there is also the process known as the process of reproduction. The process of reproduction, no doubt, is a life process, but it's not a life supporting process, it's a life continuing process. ये ऐसी process है जिसकी वजह से we are able to see the diversity of a life on this planet Earth. We are able to see the different types of rats. We are able to see the different types of reptiles. We are able to see the different types of amphibians. This is all because of the process of a reproduction. That means, dear students, the students of a 12th grade, here we are going to discuss about the basics of the topic reproduction. Students, जब हम इस रिप्रोडक्शन प्रोसेस की बात करते हैं, हम कहते हैं दिस इज अ लाइफ कंटिन्यूइंग प्रोसेस. ये ऐसी प्रोसेस है जिसकी वजह से एक ऑर्गेनिज्म अपनी जनरेशन को कंटिन्यू करता है ईयर आफ्टर ईयर. ये एक ऐसी प्रोसेस है जिसकी वजह से ये जो वैरायटी है, यहाँ पे जो डाइवर्सिटी है, वो डाइवर्सिटी का एट्रीब्यूशन इज ऑल बिकॉज ऑफ रिप्रोडक्शन. Now, dear students, you have read in class 11th that we have the 1.7 to 1.8 million species. And these 1.7 to 1.8 million species have adapted the two different means, the two different ways by which they are able to reproduce themselves, by which they are able to self-continue themselves, by which they are able to self-perpetuate themselves. And those two important methods are the asexual reproduction, and the second method is the sexual reproduction. Dear students, अगर ये दो प्रोसेसेस नहीं होती तो चूंकि हर एक ऑर्गेनिज्म का अपना एक लाइफ स्पैन होता है. फॉर एग्जांपल, जब हम बात करते हैं फाइकस बेंगलेंसिस की बनियान ट्री की, दैट हैज अ स्पैन ऑफ नियर अबाउट 200 years. जब हम इंसान की बात करते हैं एवरेज, जब हम आज के एरा की बात करेंगे 62 to 63 years एवरेज की बात करेंगे. अगर ये प्रोसेस नहीं होता तब हम फाइकस बेंगलेंसिस को नहीं देख पाते, तब हम ह्यूमंस को नहीं देख पाते, तब हम किसी भी सर्वाइविंग जो आजकल एनिमल्स है नहीं देख पाते. इट इज ऑल बिकॉज ऑफ द प्रोसेसेस ऑफ रिप्रोडक्शन and the methods which they have adapted, which the animals have adapted, is the asexual reproduction and the sexual reproduction. Dear students, जब हम बात करते हैं इस asexual reproduction की, we say here there is neither the fusion nor the formation of a gametes, and it's mainly the uniparental one. यहाँ पे ना तो गेमेट्स बनते ही हैं, ना तो उनका फ्यूजन ही होता है. Then the thing is कि अगर यहाँ पे गेमेट्स बनते भी नहीं हैं, what are the methods that organisms have adapted in this manner, in this way? The different methods that involve to this asexual reproduction is binary fission. We have the multiple fission. We have the budding. We have the fragmentation, we have the regeneration. Dear students, here the individuals formed are, चाहे हम बाइनरी फिशन की बात करें, मल्टीपल फिशन की बात करें, बडिंग की बात करें, फ्रेगमेंटेशन या रीजनरेशन की बात करें, यहाँ पे जो भी इंडिविजुअल आता है फ्रॉम द पेरेंट, बिकॉज इट्स अ यूनिपेरेंटल, सो वी कैन नॉट से द मेल पेरेंट और अ फीमेल पेरेंट, इट्स अ सिंगल पेरेंट, जहाँ से ऑर्गेनिज्म आता है, दे आर आइडेंटिकल टू द पेरेंट फ्रॉम विच दे आर अरोज, जहाँ से वो निकले हैं, जहाँ से वो आए हैं, चाहे किसी भी मेथड से वो आए हों, दे आर आइडेंटिकल to the parent and they are identical to one another. That means जब हम इनकी बात करते हैं, here the clones are formed, the offsprings produced are identical to one another as well as they are identical to the parent. That means clones are formed and the members of the clones, जो ये ग्रुप बनता है इन organisms का, वो कहलाते हैं gametes. The term gametes is used for the members of the clones. जब हम बात करते हैं asexual reproduction की, here the number is very large. क्योंकि जब हम बात करते हैं binary fission की, for example when we talk about a single bacteria which is produced by the binary fission in a 24 hours, it produces near about 4.6 into 10 raised power 21 descendants. Here the number is very large, but the variation is not there. The variation is absent because the individual formed, I already said, are identical to one another and are identical to the parent from which they have arisen. Students, I am just here giving the outline of the process. We are going to discuss these all things in our classes. Definitely, I am just giving you the outline how we have to go through the topic of reproduction that is within our syllabus. Then we have the process of asexual reproduction. When we talk about the sexual reproduction, it's a process by which there is a formation as well as the fusion of a gametes, and we say it's mainly biparental. I am using the term mainly, not always, because we have certain sexually reproducing animals which are bisexuals, which are hermaphrodite, where the single organism possesses both the sexes. So when we talk about the sexual reproduction, here there is formation as well as fusion of gametes. That means fusion of ova, formation of ova, and formation of sperm, and fusion of a sperm with ova. Dear students, when we talk about the sexual reproduction, it's the process due to which we're able to see the variety. The sexual reproduction is responsible as an attribution of the variation that we are able to see on our planet Earth. When we say the sexual reproduction, the offsprings or the daughters formed here are not identical to their parents, they are the variation of their parents. जब हम बात करते हैं sexual reproduction की, I told you that it is mainly biparental. Here two parents are involved, the male parent from which sperms are obtained and the female parent from which we are able to get the ova. But I also said that there are the certain forms which are having the presence of both the sexes. That means they are hermaphrodite, they are bisexual, where a single parent possesses both the sperm, both the ova. Dear students, in our syllabus we have to mainly discuss with this process, the process of asexual reproduction. Dear students, पहले ही मैंने लिखा it's the process जहाँ पे formation as well as fusion of gametes होता है. So for our convenience, जब हम इस sexual reproduction के टॉपिक के थ्रू जाएंगे, हमें पहले देखना होगा कि भाई ये जो ओवा ये बनाना है तो बनता कहाँ पे है? Where is the place? Where is the system जहाँ पे ये ओवा बनता है? ये sperm बनता कहाँ पे है? That means the sexual reproduction that we are going to deal in our classes have to be discussed under the different parameters. That means जब हम sexual reproduction के थ्रू जाएंगे इन डिटेल, पहले ही जो हमें देखना पड़ेगा वो देखना पड़ेगा the place where they are formed. That means we have to go through the different reproductive systems. That means a female reproductive system and the male reproductive system. That means, dear students, मैं अगर इसके थ्रू जाना चाहूँ तो मैं सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन को 3 इंपॉर्टेंट हेडिंग्स के थ्रू पढ़ सकती हूँ। पहला, जहां पे आई हैव टू डिस्कस द प्री फर्टिलाइजेशन इवेंट्स, क्योंकि हमने कहा इट्स द प्रोसेस वेयर देयर इज अ फॉर्मेशन एंड अ फ्यूजन ऑफ गेमीट्स। तो फ्यूजन से पहले ये बनते कैसे हैं, किस तरह से बनते हैं और कहां पे बनते हैं। देन देयर विल बी द फर्टिलाइजेशन इवेंट्स, how they get fertilized, how sperm approaches the ova, or is it कि ova approaches the sperm, then we have to go through the detail of the fertilization events. Then इसके बाद जो तीसरा स्टेप होगा वो होगा post fertilization events. What are the events that takes place after the fusion of ova and sperm? So in pre-fertilization event, the first thing we have to deal with is the microscopic anatomy of the female reproductive system as well as the male reproductive system. Then the another thing will be the structure of ova and sperm, and the third thing will be the process of formation of ova and sperm. That means the process of gametogenesis. That means the process where we have to go through how the formation of an ova and sperm takes place. And this gametogenesis can be then studied under the 2 subheadings. That means spermatogenesis and oogenesis. That means this will be the process where we have to go through the process of a formation of a sperms, then the oogenesis where we have to go through the process of a formation of an ovum. That means in a pre-fertilization events we have to go through the microscopic anatomy of both the systems, the female reproductive system, the male reproductive system. Then we have go through the gametogenesis as well as the structure of the ova and sperm. Then dear students, the fertilization events will be there. Dear students, when we talk about the fertilization events, जब हम बात करते हैं ह्यूमंस की, बिकॉज वी हैव टू गो मेनली थ्रू द ह्यूमन फिजियोलॉजी, ह्यूमन रिप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम, जब हम बात करते हैं ह्यूमंस की, वी से the sperm is formed in a male reproductive system, and the medium of a formation is quite different from that of the tract of a female. That means a female tract where the sperms are going to be get deposited is an acidic tract, and the sperm जो बनता है वो बनता है अपने alkaline medium में, तो उसको अपने medium से निकल कर दूसरे medium में जाना पड़ता है। जब हम फर्टिलाइजेशन इवेंट्स की बात करते हैं, इसमें वो सारे इवेंट्स हमें डिस्कस करने हैं कि अप्रोच से लेकर अंदर फेलोपियन ट्यूब तक पहुंचकर कैसे फ्यूजन होता है और क्या सारी प्रोसेसेस होती हैं। जब हम फर्टिलाइजेशन इवेंट्स की बात करते हैं, वी नो दैट व्हेन देयर इज coitus between the partners, then there is a release of near about 3.5 to 4.5 ml of a semen, and each ml contains 80 to 100 million sperms. That means during the single ejaculation, near about 450 million sperms approach towards the ovum which is present, which is released within the fallopian tube. That means within the fertilization events, we have to discuss all these things. The thing, first of all, we have to discuss within the fertilization events is the arrival of a semen, arrival of a sperm. Then the second step will be that how the activation of a sperm takes place and how it progresses towards the fallopian tube. That means we have to go through the different reactions. For example, there will be the capacitation reaction. There will be the process where there will be the removal of inhibitory factors from the sperm so that it can be viable, it can be applicable for the fusion with that of an ovum. Then after that, when it moves, when the inhibitory factors are released from the sperm, then how it approaches the ovum, because the ovum of a human female contains the 3 important layers. There is a presence of a corona radiata, there is a presence of a zona pellucida, there is a presence of a vitelline membrane or the oolemma. Then how the sperm is capable to pierce those 3 layers and enter within a cytoplasm, within the nucleus, within the cytoplasm where there is a presence of a nucleus, and how it is able to fuse with that of a nucleus. That means we have to discuss the another important reaction, that is an acrosome reaction. That means the presence of acrosome reaction will make us aware that what is within the sperm that helps it to fertilize the ovum. Then after that, we have to go through the another important reaction, that is a cortical reaction. Dear students, I already said you that the 450 million sperms approach towards an ovum, towards a single ovum. But we can see, we know it, that a humans possess a monospermy. That mainly there is a इजाज़त होती है एक ही sperm को to fertilize the ovum. And there are the exceptions. For example, there are the monozygotic twins, there are the dizygotic twins, which we are going to discuss in detail in our classrooms. But mainly there is a monospermy, not the polyspermy. If 450 million sperms approach, then how is it possible that only one single sperm fertilizes the ovum? Then for that purpose we have to go through the cortical reaction. ये ऐसी reaction है जिसे हमें पता चलता है कि जो sperm है, ये जो ovum है, ये monospermy को कैसे permit करता है और polyspermy को कैसे inhibit करता है. Then after going through the cortical reaction, we have to go through the another important step, the main important step, that is the amphimixis. Dear students, जब ovary से ovum release होता है into the fallopian tube, it's in a secondary oocyte stage. अभी ovum नहीं बना हुआ होता. जब sperm अंदर पहुंचता है तो it triggers the changes within the ovum. Then after that it gets converted into the ovum. The secondary oocyte gets converted into the ovum. Then there is the mixing of the nuclei of an ovum with that of a sperm. That is known as an amphimixis. And this amphimixis leads to the release, leads to the formation of a single cell with the two nuclei, and that is a zygote. That means in the fertilization events, I have to discuss all these things in a detail. I have to go through how the arrival of a sperm is there, then the capacitation reaction, then the acrosome reaction, then the cortical reaction, then the amphimixis. Then the fertilization has taken place. The zygote has been formed, but the zygote has been formed within the fallopian tube. Now, this zygote undergoes the various processes within the fallopian tube and then goes to the uterus. क्योंकि जब हम बात करते हैं in fertilization events की, हम कहते हैं ये जो zygote है ये चलते चलते, because there are the presence of a cilia within the fallopian tube, चलते चलते इसको कम से कम 6 to 7 days लगते हैं to reach within the uterus, जहाँ पे then there is a process of implantation. That means जब हम बात करेंगे फिर पोस्ट फर्टिलाइजेशन इवेंट्स की, जो पहला हमारे पास होगा इवेंट दैट विल बी कि इस जाइगोट के साथ क्या होता है. जो पहली चीज जाइगोट के साथ होती है, that are the repeated mitotic divisions, and that we have to go through is the process of a cleavage. Ma'am, why you have used the term cleavage, we will be able to see that there is a difference between the main mitotic divisions and the cleavage. Then we have cleavage leads to the formation of a blastula, leads to the formation of a mass of cells, where the two important type of cells are formed. There is the formation of a micromeres and there are the formation of a macromeres. Then we will be able to see how these micromeres and trophoblasts are able to lead to the formation of implantation. And within the implantation, we have to go through the important reaction, that is a decidual cell reaction. The reaction which leads to the formation of implantation chamber. Chamber जिसमें जो micromeres हैं अपने आप को fix करते हैं with the endometrium of a uterus, and the developing embryo gets fixed there. Then implantation के बाद we will be able to see the movement of the macromeres, the morphogenetic movement, and that will be the topic of a gastrulation, how there is a formation of a 3 important germ layers: the ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. Then उसके बाद हम देखेंगे the ectoderm leads its own function. It leads to the formation of some organs. The mesoderm अपने organs बनाता है, then endoderm अपने organs बनाता है. That means the process of organogenesis. Students, that means we have to go through the pre-fertilization events, where we have to study the microscopy and anatomy, the gametogenesis, the structures of structures that are formed. Then we have to go through the fertilization events, which we have already discussed. Then we have to go through the post-fertilization events. These are the events. Now these events have been completed. Now the organs have been formed and our embryo has been now converted into the fetus. The well-developed baby is there within the womb of a mother. The important another topic that we have to go through this process is the process of a parturition. The process by which this developed fetus has been उनको आना है इस दुनिया में. That means a elementary idea of a parturition. इसमें हमें जो जाना है, that is a principle of a labor pains. We have to go through the labor pains, the principle of labor pains, how the labor pains are originated, and here we have to discuss the role of the oxytocin. कैसे it leads and positive feedback mechanism, and how the baby is forced to come out of the uterus. Then we have to go through the another elementary idea of a lactation. That means after the baby has been delivered, how it sucks the mother's milk. That means we have to go through the suckling reflexes. Here we can also see the role of oxytocin. Dear students, in between all these fertilization events, pre-fertilization events, ma'am, what will be the process if the fertilization does not take place? What are the processes that take place when there is the formation of an ova, but that ova does not get fertilized? For that, we have to go through an important phase of a woman, that is a menstrual cycle. The cycle, which has a duration of 28 to 30 days, and some suggest we say the 26 days to 32 days. Then we have to go through the various phases of this menstrual cycle. Dear students, this is just the outline I am giving you. That means how we have to go through this topic. The another important aspect of this reproduction, chapter of reproduction, is reproductive health. Dear student, there was a female, the female known as Mrs. Margaret Thatcher. She was running an NGO. एक बार उन्होंने एक sermon deliver किया, कहा कि every child should be wanted. हर कोई जो बच्चा होना चाहिए वो wanted होना चाहिए. The term wanted here means desired. जिस जैसे पहले बच्चे के लिए हर कोई तैयारी करता है कि ऐसे स्कूल में वैसी पढ़ाई वैसा हर कोई चीज़ अवेलेबल हो, तो इनका कंसेप्ट था चाहे एक बच्चा हो चाहे दो बच्चे हो, हर एक बच्चे को इक्वल राइट्स मिलने चाहिए, चाहे पढ़ाई को लेकर हो चाहे किसी और चीज़ को लेकर हो. तो इसके लिए देयर शुड बी अ प्रॉपर गैप बिटवीन द चिल्ड्रन. गैप होना बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. द गैप विच under the term of a contraception comes in our topic. That means there should be the method where there is the formation of ova and a sperm, but they are not given the chance to fuse. That means it prevents the fusion of sperm and ova. ये ova और sperm के fusion को prevent करता है, रोकता है, उनको मिलने नहीं देता. तो जो contraception के methods हमें यहाँ पे पढ़ने होंगे, we will study them under the three important headings: the physical means of a contraception, the biological means of a contraception, and the chemical means of a contraception. We are going to discuss them in a detail: the physical means, the chemical means, and the biological means. Then within the reproductive health हम देखते हैं कि there are various diseases which are associated, which are transferred through the unsafe sex, and those disorders are known as sexually transmitted diseases or the venereal diseases. The diseases, that is, the first one is AIDS, the viral one, and then two bacterial diseases, the syphilis and gonorrhea. the bacterial diseases. The third important thing that we have to discuss with this topic of reproduction is the infertility. जब हम इनफर्टिलिटी की बात करते हैं, ये इट्स एन इनएबिलिटी टू कंसीव. It has to be studied under the two subheadings, the primary infertility and the secondary infertility. Primary infertility का मतलब when the couples from the past 2 years are trying to conceive but ऐसा हो नहीं रहा है. That means अभी तक कोई भी बच्चा दुनिया में नहीं आया है. That is known as a primary infertility. Without the use of any contraception, कोई भी contraceptive measure नहीं लिया गया है. और जब हम बात करते हैं सेकेंडरी इनफर्टिलिटी की, ये ऐसा प्रोसेस है जहां पे पहला बच्चा तो आया है लेकिन दूसरा बच्चा they are trying from a 2 or a 3 years or a 4 years and they are not able to conceive. That means first case is there. पहला बच्चा है लेकिन दूसरे बच्चे के लिए ट्राई कर रहे हैं बट बच्चा नहीं हो रहा है. Students, as we know, for the female to conceive, there should be a proper fusion between the ova and sperm. That means if there is an inability, the inability may be within the ova, the inability may be within the sperm. That means inability may be within the male or inability may be within the female. That means we have to go through the reasons of infertility as per the males and the reasons of infertility in females. What are the various defects that are present within the males that prevent the female to conceive, and what are the different reasons within the female that prohibits her to conceive. That means infertility in males and infertility in females. Then, dear students, the science has developed a beautiful techniques which have given a relief to the number of the infertility couples, and those are the assisted reproductive technologies. That means another topic which we have to deal with this infertility is the assisted reproductive technologies. We have to go through the IVF, that means in vitro fertilization. Then we have the ZIFT, zygote intrafallopian transfer. Then we have the GIFT, gamete intrafallopian transfer. Then we have the artificial insemination. Dear students, this was the outline and this were the basic things about the process of reproduction that we are going to deal in our classes. I hope this will help you in your classwork. That's all for me. Thank you very much.